Well, having, served over in East Asia in the United States military, particularly in the U.S. Navy, having traveled to Japan for that service under Abe's government, we always knew that it was time for Japan to remilitarize, to, reinvigorate their navy and go from this maritime self-defense force to reestablishing a Japanese navy because of their alliance with the United States, and the rise of China, quite frankly. The rise of China, particularly, which we know will, if there's any type of conflagration which takes place with China, it will be a maritime battle. It will be water-based, right? And Abe was a huge proponent of this. He was what did NPR call him? They called him an arch-conservative, a divisive arch-conservative. I think it's very interesting, by the way, that the NPR, they've now deleted their original report on him where they were attacking him. But if you read the NPR piece and you read the Global Times piece, and Global Times in China, Huanqiu Shibao, is that's their really caustic, for the CCP. That's the hardliners of the CCP model. And it's amazing to me that the NPR headline and the CCP hardliner headline are exactly united at the hip. They track one could have written the other. You would
maybe they have the same editor. One would wonder these days. Maybe they have the same editor putting out the headlines.
Right, I posted up. If you understand why they have pretty much the same headline, you might understand what's actually going on in our world. But this is a huge loss for the anti-communist movement. This is a huge loss for Asia security, and just a true diplomat, someone who had worked at balancing relations across Asia, and correctly, in my view, understood that the rise of China was a threat to the balance of power in Asia, but also to security and harmony in the region.
One of the other concerns I'm sure that these folks at NPR and elsewhere had is that Donald Trump came out and said Abe was a true friend and said some other very kind things about his relationship with Shinzo Abe, as he should. And the other part of this that is lost on people, I think, Jack, is this. The Chinese hold grudges for millennia, I believe, right? And what the Japanese did to mainland China back in the 1920s and 30s was grotesque. We're all clear on that, the rape of Manchuria and so forth. But the Chinese, I believe, still want to even that score. Even though we're almost 100 years past that, they still think that they need to even the score there. So I've always wondered if China would at some point take an aggressive stance toward Japan much more than they have so far. What do you think?
Well, that's actually very perceptive, and it's true, right? Every Chinese student is brought up, and by the way, right, this Japan did commit horrific atrocities across mainland China, also across South Korea, the Philippines, Hong Kong, throughout the war, and that's just true. And that was the imperial government of Japan. We focus so much on the crimes of Nazi Germany, but I think in the U.S. we don't actually realize how bad it was under Imperial Japan and under those occupations. Island of Guam, where I served as well, we have huge celebrations about it, and celebrations of liberation, I should say. Catch myself there. And in China, every student is taught about these crimes from a very early age. Every student across the country. So you're talking now billions of people who are raised being told that Japan is our great enemy, that we must prepare. They don't even really have this sort of anti-American, America's this thing that's far away and they're powerful, but Japan is the one that's right here. I remember, just by way of anecdote, when I was working in Shanghai, this is before I joined the military, and I'd just gotten out of college, and at the time I was typical college kid, and I drove a Mitsubishi, and I happened to mention to one of my Chinese colleagues. They said, well, what kind of car do you drive? Oh, I drive a Mitsubishi. And they never talked to me again, right? That is how serious it is over there.